So we have had some outstanding albums that were released in the past month, and no album has really blown me away more than the latest release from Hemina. Venus by Hemina. So Hemina is a progressive metal band from Australia, and they incorporate a lot of different styles within their musical playing, but not to the extent that it's almost like a melting pot of music. As with many artists that have released albums lately, this is my first encounter of them, and they've got two other albums that I unfortunately haven't had time to listen to, but Venus, being their third full-length album, just has blown me away with how complex, catchy, and intriguing all of their songs are. The more I've been listening to this album, the more it just reveals itself to me. Now, this album is just over 90 minutes, and whenever an album is pushing this sort of length, I always kind of get my back up because it runs the risk of being oversaturated with music. So this will be one of the few albums that actually don't get docked for being so long, especially in today's climate where the double concept album is just so full frontal that it's almost oversaturated the market. Luckily here, it doesn't really suffer from that. Each song has its own personality, and I love how each really heavy and long song is paired very, very well with a more of a subtle or mellow track. So the album opens up with Fantasy, and the thing that really struck me right out of the gate was just, even though this was a metal ensemble, it kind of harkened back to, say, like the 90s metal, where it wasn't as heavy or dark or deep as a lot of the albums that we're getting today and in the 2000s. And the one thing that really got to me is the guitar work in this album is very, very beautiful. Right in that opening sequence of Fantasy, the first song off this album, the guitar work on it is just beautiful, and it really opens up the album just stellarly. Now, the second song, of Expect the Unexpected, what I did like was the lyricist and the vocals on this. It was a very deep, and it almost reminded me of like a Crash Test Dummies. And this is a styling of singing that's really hard to do, and it really shows the range of the singers on this album. It's just like where those ranges are. And this was also kind of where those feminine vocals were coming in as well, of Jessica Martin. And I'm so, so glad that not only does she provide the vocals for this, but she also provides the bass line as well. And I love when bands do this. They're not just using a woman for a vocalist or to add, a little bit of that feminine touch for harmonizations within the vocals to provide a duet. She's actually contributing to the musical stylings on here in a very beautiful way, and I applaud the band for doing this, and it's something that I wish more bands would pick up. But the one song that I loved, and this was when I knew that I had stumbled upon a really special album, was within the title track. There's a moment within probably about the halfway mark where things really slow down, and we're getting into this really beautiful take where it's got the mellotrons and the strings playing out a really harmonic essence. And this, I think, is something that the band uses very, very well. It's not only harmonizing between the notes that are found in the moment, like the overlaying of the notes harmonizing very, very well, but it's also harmonizing very well with the music between the notes as well, when you're shifting from one note to another. That's when I knew that I had stumbled upon something beautiful. And this is also found very, very well within the 9th track of I. I think it's I. It's either I or one. It's just a character. And this is one of the longer tracks on the album, so it does give it enough breath to really have some fun and really explore the territory. And again, it's that harmonics between the notes that really stand out for me. And finally, the one that I want to draw people's attention to is Down Will Come Baby. Down Will Come Baby, again, like that lullaby, it's very, very catchy as well. Like, I'll find myself humming along when they come into that, and down will come baby, cradle and all. It just got that hook, and that's what I've been waiting for, and I love the fact that the album kind of closes with that.
Please truly mistaken, I will break out and remember who I was before, and down will come baby.
So overall, I love this album, and I've been listening to this quite a bit. This was unfortunately released on the same day that the Animals as Leaders album and the Neil Morse Band album were dropped, so I think this album got overshined by them, and I was at fault as well. I sought those two guys out, and it was only kind of after the fact that I was listening to this one, but don't let those other really big releases stop you from listening to this. This is an album you need to check out, and it's for that reason that I gotta say, even though this is a relatively new album, I've been loving this album with my whole heart, and it is one that I hope to come back to. I hope this isn't going to be a flash in the pan and I put it on the shelf and not revisit it later on. I hope this is one that when I put it on the shelf, it will mature with age, and when I come back to it, it'll have grown a little bit more. So I'm hoping that I see that with this album. So, that's about it from me. What did you guys think? Have you heard this album? If you haven't, give it a spin, because it definitely deserves to be listened to. And then let me know what you thought. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, let me know by commenting below. And thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.